So good afternoon and welcome everyone. Welcome to the ninth episode of VizConnect. So today we have Priyabrata and Snehith with us to talk about integration of R with Tableau and prepping your data with Tableau Prep. So without further ado, let's start with the first speaker, Priyabrata. He is a data visualization lead currently working with Accenture. He has 4 years of Tableau experience. So when he is not glued to a computer screen, he spends time with the LED screen playing games. And the interesting fun fact about him is that he thinks Darwin is wrong. We all are aliens. So over to you, Priyabrat. You can share your screen.
Just say yes if you can see my screen and hear my voice.
We can hear you. Go ahead, please.
So, myself is Priyabrata Satapathy. The topic we are discussing today is our integration with Tableau. Moving to the next slide. What is R? Here, R is the unknown, as we are, I think, audience is pretty much known about Tableau. So, the unknown is R over here. R is nothing but a statistician tool. You check it's a programming language developed by Ross and Robert in 1993. It's been there for more than 20 years, 2 decades. So R possesses an extensive catalog of statistical graphical methods. It includes machine learning algorithms, learning regression, time series, and so on. So what is this R program? It's a clear and accessible programming code. So what is the transformation about it? R is made up of a collection of libraries designed specifically for the data set. It's a packaged program which have different packages and libraries to help you going for those algorithms and linear regression and time series. So the discover part is investigate the data, refine your hypothesis, analyze them, and find the insights about it. So the model provides a wide array of tools to capture the right model for your data. How we communicate with it? Integrate codes, graphs, outputs to a report with R Markdown or build shiny apps or good visualization. So we know that this is a pretty famous tool and it's been there for 20 years. Now we'll see through this visualization how famous it is actually. If you see the visualization I present over here, at the left side is the visits to R by industry. If you see, these are the most top listed industry mentioned over here. It's not the all I can say. You can see every known industry or the big industry are listed over here. Academia, healthcare, goods, government, even its state, manufacturing, media, retail, everyone is there. You name it, it's there. And in the right side, if you check, most mentioned R packages. If you are familiar with R, you can know that these are the R packages, DPL, LOA, ggplot2. These are all the R packages which are developed by the community and uh, available in your R system to process those regression and the statistician calculations for the advanced model we do. Now, how to install this unknown? Okay, don't worry for the process. We have these sites of R and R Studio. I'll share this link with Sagar. So you can go and download it. It's an open source. You can go and download it and show you how it looks. Looks like this. You have an editor over here. You have a console over here. And
So,
the
so
right
uh,
side, in,
Priyabrat, we can't see your screen. I think if you're showing R, we are not able to see it.
okay, just now can you see?
No, we are still seeing your PPT only.
Okay. Now,
Yes, now we can see your screen. Yeah, go ahead.
the R, you can see the R, right?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah, yeah. It's R Studio. You have to install both R and R Studio to get this screen. Okay. I mentioned over here. So how to install the R and R Studio. Okay. So going to the R Studio, this is the screen it looks like. It has one editor. This one is the editor. This one is the console. This one is the environment. These are the files area. We go through it. We will go through details down the line. Now, here we will know the basics how R works. Mm,
What happened, Priyabrata?
You can see the screen, right?
You are showing your R Studio screen, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay, okay, yeah, perfect. Go ahead.
yeah, yeah. Okay. So here I have a variable of x. I'll assign this variable with some numeric calculation. Then I'll print. Okay. So I'll run my fast code. See, it has directly assigned in the environment x is 3. Okay. Whenever I want to print over there, I have to print this x. Okay. You got it? And every programming language, as you know, it starts with a hello world printing. Right? So let's print hello world. Printed over here. It's that simple. Okay. So if you want to assign a variable to it, you can do it as I said before. So I now is keeping hello world. At the right side, you can see the environment is storing this value. If you see the environment, it stores the current value. It has the history which you have executed through the sessions. It has connection data. So in the environment, if you clear this, so I can clear these values. I have no longer this x value. Error object is x not found. Object y not found will be changed. Yeah. So these are the basic steps. We'll now check for the some importing Excel and reading them. Okay, I think you are all familiar with the sample superstore which normally comes with the Tableau. So the sample superstore data is over here. So whenever you click this orders, you have this data. Okay, order ID, ship date, ship mode, customer name as the columns over here. So how to do it? First, I'll go and set my directory. Okay. So working directory will have over here. Once you download in the document side, you have a R document file. Then save the directory to R. Okay. I have set the directory to R now. Okay. So if you can see at the right side, the sample superstore CSV is already present over here. If you do not have it, because I already imported this, you can import the data set from the import data set from the environment. Okay. Now sample superstore will read it. My variable is the sample superstore. Read.csv is the function, and sample superstore CSV is just the CSV file. Okay, you can see over here the global environment has now this variable, and you can see the exact data which I have in the Tableau, the exact data we have in this R. Sagar, you can see the Tableau screen also, right?
Yes, yes, I can see your tablet screen also. Yeah,
Great,
go ahead.
great, great. Now, the first thing is it's my process. It's normally developer do to check the row count which you just imported. So how to check the row count in the Tableau? We go the number of records. It normally a field gets created by default. The Tableau is nothing but count the records. How many records you have in your data set which you have just imported. So if I go and put it in a text, you can see the row count is 9994. So we'll see the R is giving us the same result or not. So my variable over here is the row count, and the function I'll be using to count the row is the n row, and my CSV file has already assigned to the sample superstore variable. So I'll placing this variable through n row. I'm running this, then I'll print this row count. In the console, you can see the row count is 9994, which is exactly same my Tableau is showing. Okay. So now there are some pretty good functions over here. I'll don't go detail about it, but I'll give you some. So when you go for choosing the top value and the bottom value in Tableau, the same we can do displaying first 10 rows or last 10 or 15 rows in R. So the function for the top is head, the function for the bottom is tail. Pretty simple. Give the number of rows you want in n. If it is 10 rows, n equal to 10. If it is 5 last 5 rows, n equal to 5. So I'll run these first 10 rows. Now I'll print this. So you can see at the console side, you can see the first 10 rows mentioned over here, which I've already printed. Okay. Similarly, the function tail, we go for printing the last 5 rows. And print the value. It is giving us the value over here for last 5 rows. Coming like this because it has much more columns, so it's not fitting in the area. You can see the last row over here is 9994, starting from 9990. So I'm pretty sure is the last 5 rows. Okay. Now moving to the slide. Okay. So here we have covered all the basics, how to work with R, what are the functions, and how to read a Excel file, how to import a Excel file. All those basics we have covered over here. Now we'll check how normally it works. So there is a connection. If you can see the picture over here at the right side, R is mentioned over there is R serve. R serve is nothing but a server which normally helps other tools to communicate with R. So in the Tableau, we have 4 script types. One is script boolean, one is script integer, one is script real, and another is script string. So the 4 function, bool is the boolean, as I said, integer, int is the integer, script real is the real number, str is the string. So whenever you input the data and calculate through this script, whatever your script is, normally get calculated through R server, not in Tableau. So whenever you input the data, calculate the data, it normally pass those R script and data into R to R serve, then gets calculated through R. The output data then fed to the tablet and shown. Okay, so this is the actual picture how R and Tableau integrate with each other. But without installing RServe, you cannot work it. Okay, so first we have to check, we have to install the package which is available in the R is RServe. Then we have to call the library which is RServe. Then we make sure that it's up and running. Then only we can connect to the tablet. Okay. So this is the integration part and how it works backend. Okay. So how to integrate the R with Tableau? I will show you. So this is my row count. If you go to the help screen, there is one settings and performance over there. Then go to manage the external service connections. So whenever I click the manage external service connections, you can see over there that it is select an external service. So other external service is Satapathy, which is Python. Here our concern is R. So R serve will be there. So server will be localhost, okay, and port will be 6311. Then we'll test the connection. Before this, we have to do one thing. We have to run this thing and check whether it is up and running. So we have to install the package. It's showing that message because I have already run these packages in my R. That's why it's showing it. If you are running for the first time, the message won't show. So you have uploaded the library. Then you call the R server. Okay. So now we'll test the connection. Successfully connected to the external service. So the successful connected external service is the R server over here. Nothing. Okay. Now you have successfully connected to the R. So now moving to my slide. Now we'll try this out. This one is, if you can see this visualization, so it's nothing, it uses your sample supposed to data. Left side is the subcategory which is presented in the y-axis. In the x-axis, you can see one profit ratio getting calculated through Tableau calculation. Another is getting calculated through your are using Tableau calculated field. All those scripts I mentioned over there, integer, boolean, real, all those can be done through Tableau calculated field. So we'll try this out. Okay. I've already done over here. So I'll do it. Renaming it tryout. So here our concern is subcategory. I have subcategory over here. Then I have profit ratio. Profit ratio is a calculated field. If you see over here, it's nothing but sum of profit divided by sum of sales. I've seen some regular mistake people go and do profit divided by sales. As it is a measure, you should go for aggregation values. Then only you get the perfect result. So sum of profit divided by sum of sales. Okay. So we'll go for checking the R calculations over here. Okay. So if you see, there is a real number over here because we have decimal point. So I have assigned this variable is nothing but which we have discussed now in my basic part. So variable will be assigned, function will be there. Then I am passing those arguments. My model is the variable, round is the function to round those values. So I have two arguments, whether it is argument 1 divided by argument 2 with, or it can be x divided by y. Now I am printing my module. So I have assigning these arguments with sum of profit and sum of sales. So if argument 1 is my sum of profit, argument 2 is my sum of sales. Whatever you want to do or whatever the function you have, you can mention over there and it goes. And to check the syntax, you just type it over here and check the syntax over here. So it's pretty easy. If you have a syntax error, it will give you the error over there that you have a syntax error over here. Okay. So now we'll build the visualization. Okay. The subcategory is my profit ratio and profit ratio R. Some might wonder why aggregation is coming, because we have already placed sum of profit and sum of sales over there. That's why I'm getting the aggregation there. Just note it. Okay. I have to place this value as the text. Available in the R side is the profit ratio R of the label. Okay, you can see and match those values. It is exactly the same because we are doing the same operation whole together. It's just sum of profit divided by sum of sales in one. Another just holding the variable with the same calculation but done through R. Okay. Argument 1, argument 2, one is profit, one is sales. Okay. Now we'll go for the entire view. This is my entire view over here. I have a color coding example over there because we have some negative values over here. To pop up those values, I have color coding which is profit ratio greater than 0. Okay. I'll put it in all. I will have the same calculation for both. If you have different calculations, so I go for different color coding over there. I have the same calculation, so one color coding will pop up. So we have this value over here is the same mentioned in my PPT. So it's a nice visualization which will give you those values, and one's calculation is profit ratio, another is done by R. So here we have to do one thing as we have mentioned over here. Basically we can format over here. Okay. If you have, as you have already labeled those values, you can hide this axis also. Format it over here. So it's a nice visualization we have. We have the subcategory. We have those values for accessories, ads, binders, bookcases. So bookcases is doing bad, supplies is doing bad, tables are doing bad. You just can see and at a glance you will know the red colors are doing bad because it has negative percent. So the same thing you'll get, and everything you can do it from the calculated field. Just type it straight over here. All four are available, and all four will be having all those examples with those script values. So that's my time. I think we have learned something over here. Thank you for attending audience.
Perfect. So I think that's a great start, right? When you want to connect Tableau with R. So just to share, and I will just take 1 minute. So I created something like that. So I got a data of all the restaurants in Mumbai. So I live in Mumbai. So I wanted to just plot all those restaurants in a map. I had the address of the restaurants. So what I did, I basically took all the data in Tableau, connected to the R, created a Google, used a Google package over there, and I was able to convert all the restaurants into a latitude and longitude and place it on a map. So maybe next time I will go ahead and share with you how exactly I had done with respect to R. But thanks a lot, Priyabrata. I think it's a great start. Thanks for showing us how to connect Tableau with R. Perfect. So now moving on, just to introduce you to our next speaker, and I think this is really a pain when you are working with the data, right? And that's the reason Snehith today will help us to understand how exactly we can use Tableau Prep for prepping our data. So just to talk about Snehith, Snehith is a business intelligence and analytics manager with visualization analytics tools across the SAP, Oracle, Microsoft stacks. He is a certified Tableau desktop specialist and has a set up the Tableau practice in an organization from ground zero. A fun fact about him is that he's passionate about anything related to data, art, design, technology, strategy, and working at the confluence of all of them. You can share your screen.
Perfect. So thank you, Sagar, for that introduction. So let me quickly share my screen and let me know if you're able to hear me and see my screen as well.
We can hear you perfectly.
Can you see my screen?
It's loading. It's still loading, Snehith. Yeah, we can see it now.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. Thanks, Sagar. Thanks for that introduction again. And good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining the VizConnect webinar. I'm Snehith Allamraju, and I'll be taking you through the basics of how to prepare your data with Tableau Prep Builder. Again, about myself in brief, I have around 12 years of experience in the BI and analytics domain. I've worked with technologies across SAP, Oracle, Microsoft, and Tableau, of course, is my latest passion. So I think all of us here, we work as analysts, we work as consultants in our respective organizations, whether we are working with clients, whether we are working with our own organizations, with our own business stakeholders, we are in some way or the other connected to data, right? And when you're connected to data, something like this is you might see or you have already seen in your day-to-day work, wherein you either deal with Excel sheets that have billions of rows that you want to combine. Either you have a long SQL code that you have to write just to get a view to be exposed to a business analyst or to the business, or you have multiple integrations that are going on between multiple packages just to get to that one clean data set that can be used in your visualization or that can be used by the business or the stakeholders in their visualization. And as Sagar mentioned, it is definitely a pain, right? So what Tableau has done is, to make sure that they are trying to ease out some of that as a part of their desktop tool itself. So as most of you might be using Tableau desktop, the data interpreter tool, we all use that in most cases wherein we have data in an Excel and we want to make sure that we have some basic cleanup done manually, and then we do some steps manually to make sure that we are preparing the data for our visualization or for your analysis. So what Tableau has done is created a separate tool specifically for that, which makes it very easy. So the bread and butter of Tableau Prep Builder is just making sure that it's cleaning the data and you're able to explore the data and prepare the data for your analysis, right? So Prep Builder basically works in the prepare data domain, which is part of this whole data preparation and analytic life cycle, right? So you start with the business question. You have the iterative cycle of how do you get data to answer that question, how do you prepare that, analyze that, develop the insight, and share, right? So prepare Tableau Prep Builder is usually around the prep and analyze phase. You can probably also take it in get phase as well, but usually it's in the preparation phase wherein you're making sure that you're cleaning your data to an extent that it can be easily analyzed, and you can generate that insight from clean data, right? So again, experts, I'm not putting a name to this, but experts usually say that 80% of the time is consumed around data preparation in the overall lifetime that is consumed for an analytics project. And we all know that pain, and we all have experienced that. So Tableau Prep Builder is helping us to reduce the time as much as possible by being part of that life cycle, right? So again, prep can be a business analyst tool. It can be an IT tool, however you want to look at it. At the end of the day, it helps you to get the data ready for analysis, right? So just to give you an overall picture of Tableau Prep Builder, and then I'll jump in, of course, to a demo in the second half of this session today. So the Prep Builder workspace basically has 4 common windows, if you can call that. There's basically 4 different areas that you would work with. The first thing is, the connections pane, where you would connect to the data. This is similar to how we would acquire data in a Tableau desktop tool, right? And the second one is a flow pane, which is the actual visual representation of the series of steps that you're taking to prepare your data. The third thing is the profile pane, which basically provides a summary, like a distribution, or it gives you the list of fields that are available of each field in your incoming data. So you see the shape of your data, and you can do quick filters, and you can look at outliers, and you can filter out the nulls. We can look at a quick demo. Then there is a data grid that basically gives you how the data looks like, as in when you keep preparing and cleaning up the data in the profile pane, you see the data updating in the data grid pane. So it's a very visual representation. There are visible breadcrumbs of all of the underlying workspace, right? And then you have a change pane, which is very important because you might be doing so much with data, and if your data is not clean, you might be doing so many transformations and filtering and stuff like that, that sometimes you might want to go back to a specific step, right? And that's where the changes pane helps you to keep a track of what all you have done and in the order in which you have done it, so that if you want to remove something or redo something, you can go back to the changes pane and do that. So usually when you work with a Tableau Prep Builder, these are the different work areas which you would interact with to explore, clean, and transform your data. Okay. Then of course, these are the core functionalities. As a tool, what Tableau Prep Builder helps us to do is, first of all, connect to the data, then examine and filter specific data sets or specific functions or subsets of the data. Then you can clean and shape. You can actually look at the data and analyze, okay, what columns are probably not working, what columns have missing values, which entities might have outliers that you might want to filter out so that your analysis is clean. And then you might have a scenario wherein you want to combine multiple data sets, right? We all know of the scenarios wherein you have data sitting in multiple Excel sheets internally for the organization that you're working with, and there is external data that you want to join, and all of these might be sitting in different types of data sources. One can be Tableau server, one can be on an Excel, one can be in an Access database, one can be in Salesforce or CRM, one can be in some other SQL database, right? So how do you make sure that you're combining this data together, pulling that information, making sure that you're harmonizing the data, combining and joining it, and then ultimately it helps you to preview and share and run the flow. So basically you are working with flows in Tableau Prep, and then you preview and share, and then you add the output step so that you can then use that output as an input to Tableau desktop as a data source, right? So you basically are working with flows in Tableau Prep Builder, so please keep that in mind. So let's now maybe jump into the tool. So I'll again come back to the slide again. So what I'm trying to do today is, and again, I'll just shout out to Dan Murray, who is a Tableau Den Master and whose blog and whose data sources I have used. or I'm using as a part of this demo here. So shout out to him for that. So let's go to Tableau Prep Builder. And again, you might be wondering why is it called Tableau Prep Builder? Because there is also a separate component called Tableau Prep Connector, which helps you to deploy these flows onto the Tableau server. So that's the major difference between Tableau Desktop Data Interpreter Tool versus Tableau Prep Builder, because ultimately what you can do with Tableau Prep Builder is, if you have the Tableau Prep Conductor functionality on the Tableau server, which comes, of course, with an add-in, you can directly deploy these flows onto Tableau server and then automate that so that you don't have to do that manually as how you would do it in a Tableau Desktop Interpreter, for example. Okay, so this is, again, Tableau Tab Builder, the tool. So what I have today is I have some data, sales data, and what I want to do is I want to look at, okay, how is my company performing in terms of sales, depending upon, the population in that specific, region, the population in that specific area, right? So I have all of my files in one giant Excel file. So if I open that, for example, let me open this Superstore for Tableau Prep file. Let's quickly go through that Excel file so that have an idea of how the data is sitting. So this will be the source to our Tableau Prep Builder. So we have the data. We have multiple columns, each of them being specific orders, and each of them belonging to individual years. So you have multiple tabs wherein you have orders data for 4 different years. And then you have a regional manager tab wherein you have per region who's the corresponding manager, right? So what we would want to do is now combine this information in Tableau Prep, and let us look at how we can do that. So I'll go here. I'll just say connect to data, and I'll pull up Microsoft Excel because it's an Excel-based data source. And here, if you see, I have Superstore Tableau Prep 2018. This is my source file. So let me open that. Okay, this is in news, so let's close that real quick. Let's quickly open that again. So now what you have here is you have the set of tabs, each being recognized as individual data files, right? So we can make sure that we are using Tableau Data Interpreter. I'll not be using that here. So now what we can do is we can add these individual order files individually. So all we can do is just drag, drop this into the flow. So as you can see, by default, as in when you drop a specific table into your Prep Builder workflow, it is recognizing and identifying all of the corresponding fields, the corresponding types, and just giving you a sample file. So let's drag each one of them one by one. There is also another way we can do this easily, especially if you have, in this case, because there are only 4 files, we are okay to drag them one by one. But say you might be having in your folder maybe 100 files that all starts with orders, right? So it's impossible to pull up all of them one by one. So what Tableau Prep gives you is an option to do a wildcard union. So what you can basically do is just select the wildcard union, and you can just say, okay, include everything that starts with order star. So you can give the matching pattern, and what this can then do is pull up all of the orders that are basically starting, all of the files that are basically starting with the name order star, right? So you can do that as well. We are not going to use that. So let's use a single table. And basically, we talked about how we can combine the data, right? So we talked about how we can do joins or unions. So what I would want to do here is I want to make sure that I'm combining all of this into one specific file or one specific region so that I have all of them combined in one data set. So what you could do is just select one of the files, and when you try to drag it on top of the other one, you see you get 2 options, either to join or to do a union. In this case, I will be doing a union. So I'll just drag this into the union section, and you can see that the flow is starting to build up, wherein you're able to identify, okay, this is a union of these two order files. And you can see Tableau Prep Builder also gives you a very visual interface. So anything that is coded with a blue and orange, you'll see that, okay, it's also giving you, okay, these are the row IDs that are coming from the blue file. These are the row IDs that are coming from the orange file and stuff like that. So let's try to do the same union with the other ones as well. So I'll just add all the 4 files to the union. So let me quickly minimize this guy. So this was a very recently added feature wherein you can just also move these guys around. So now what we have here, as you can see, is we have a union of all the order files. And you see Tableau Prep Builder has automatically created a new column called table names, where it's basically taking, okay, this is the file name and the corresponding tab name, right? And you can see that it's basically giving you a visual representation of the row counts also. The gray bars that you see at the bottom, it basically is saying that, okay, 2018 has the maximum number of orders, right? So what is also interesting to note here at the bottom, you see that there is a section that says mismatched fields. So what it means is that there is a sales column in my blue, orange, and green files, but there is a revenue column in my magento file, right? And it's intelligently identifying that, hey, okay, this might be the same field, so you might want to make sure that you're combining that together. And so what we can do is, if you check on this show only mismatched fields, you can see that those are the 2 ones that it's identifying are the same. So we can make sure that we are combining them together. So I'll just drag this and drop it on top of the other column. So it's basically merging those 2 together, and there are no more mismatched fields. So you see, it's pretty easy visual workflow that we are trying to create here, right? And then what I would do is, remember, we have the regional manager. So what I'll try to do here is, let me add a step. So whenever you're adding a step, the default one is a clean step. And what I'll try to do here is just scan through the columns real quick. So the row IDs seem okay. So usually row IDs are, it's identifying these as numbers because the row IDs are in numbers. I'll maybe change this to a string so that we have them as identified as a string. And as I keep going to the right, you see that there is an order priority. And based on my functional knowledge, I know that usually, there is no not specified order priority. It's quite possible that as a part of the business process, these are low ones. So I'd want to combine these together. So all I can do is select the order priority and not specified together. And I can right click and say group them, right? And notice one thing, that when I hover over one of these or select one of the values of those dimensions, it's also giving me a visual interface of how much data do we have in the other columns corresponding to the value that I selected, right? So it's very useful to look at or explore the data. So in this case, let me group these 2 together. So I'm grouping my dimension values together. So now I know that, okay, everything that is not specified will be replaced with a low, as simple as that. Okay, so let me keep going to the right. Everything looks okay based on what I see. Again, customer ID is something that I would want to say, okay, this is probably a string. And now let's look at customer names, for example. And instead of customer names, you can see, you can also sort this in descending order, and you'll see that, okay, all of the names these are the customers who have the maximum number of orders, and it's quite evident from the overall sales that are there. Notice one thing that is very strange here, right? So you see that there is regular air in the shipping mode and there is regular airs, right? So one thing that you can also easily do is, I know that these both are the same. So what I can do is, I can double click on that specific one. And I can also rename this. I can just say edit value. And I just say, okay, just rename this as regular air. So that way we are taking care of the data anomalies together. So all of the regular air is now combined and we are good to go. Look at the other one here. We have the customer segment as consumer, corporate, and there is a misspell in terms of the corporate. And what Tableau Prep also gives you is an option wherein you can just select this and you have an option to clean the data set, wherein you can trim spaces, you can remove punctuation, you can make things lowercase or uppercase. You can remove the extra spaces. But what I'm interested here is an option to group. So basically, what I know is that corporate, corporate, and corporate, these all are almost the same pronunciation. So what Tableau Prep also gives you is an option to group values based on the pronunciation of the dimension values. So for example, let's see how intelligent it is if we can identify that, okay, the ones that are all corporate are all the same. So let's look at that. So you see that it's basically combining all of those three values together. So let's do it once more. I'll go back. And basically what I did was I just said, okay, group my values based on the pronunciation. So it is intelligent enough to identify that, okay, the pronunciation of those dimension values are the same. So they are probably, the same ones, right? So it's then grouping them together. So that's the intelligent part of Tableau Prep Builder, wherein it can do grouping based upon either the pronunciation, either the values, or based upon manual input, right? So let's move ahead. So I have this file now, and what I would do is I'll just probably add another file here, which says, okay, I want to add the regional manager file. So let me again move this over. I'll just move this guy here. And what I'll do is I'll just add this regional manager and join this to my clean data set. So basically what I did here was a union, and what I'm doing here is a join. And you see that Tableau Prep Builder can also easily identify how to join, and it is basically joining based upon the region value. So if you have the same column with the same name in either both my clean data set and my regional manager data set, it is identifying them together. You can also do it the other way as well. You can just rename something else. If it was called something else, you can rename it, or you can just select it just to match it. The one good thing about it also of Tableau Prep also, which is often overlooked, is you can always annotate this, right? So you can just say clean data set, and I'm just saying that you can also add additional description so that it becomes easy for someone else to maintain it, whoever are managing this. So cleaning my column values. Again, I'm just not taking too much time here, but I'm just showing you the functionality of what is possible, right? So now what I have is I have another file which I can bring in. And Sagar, I think we have 2 minutes left. So let me try to see if I can add another file here. So I have another data set that is coming from the US government. This basically has the data for multiple states and the corresponding population. So what I'm trying to do here is make sure that, so let me use the interpreter. So let me remove this. I'll use the data interpreter in this case, and I'll pull up the value, the data table. So you see you have a geographic area, and you have basically the population of all of the values that are available here. And what I would do in this case is I'll probably do a pivot of this data. So I'm not basically joining this together. Let me do a pivot. Oh, sorry, wrong file. So let me add a step. And if you see, it basically has all of the state values. And if you scroll down below, it also has the region values, which I don't want. And it's basically having Midwest, Northeast, South, and United States. What I can do is you can also use Tableau Prep's basic functionality of splitting the data. So if you see, you can right-click, you can basically right-click and say split values and do an automatic split. And what Tableau Prep would do is it will automatically identify that, okay, all of these guys here, they are starting with a dot, or it's basically looking at the split functionality. So if you see, it will also show you what is the corresponding change that has been done here. So it's automatically applying the split, this specific condition, and splitting it based on the dot. So based on this, what I'll see here is if I select this, it's basically identifying all of the regions. So I'm not interested in the regions. I'm only interested at the state level. So let me exclude these guys. So whatever action you perform on this in this flow is not impacting your underlying data set, right? So it's only impacting the corresponding flow that you're working with here. And what I'm also now interested in here is, let me remove this column because all I'm interested is in the state. So I can always rename this field as state and change the data type to geographical state and province. I'll remove the columns that I don't want. So in this case, let me remove these guys because all I want is the population for the last 4 years. So I'll take the last 4 columns from the end. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and anything before this, I'll try to remove. Okay. So let me remove these guys. Okay. So let's start with that. So now what I would do is I would add a pivot step. So basically, what it is doing is, you see, you have a population estimate for 2011, 12, 13, and 16, 2017, and 2018. And remember, we had orders data for 2015, 2016, 2017, and 2018. So let's take only 2016, 17, and 18 in this case. We can probably also remove these guys. Let's go back here. Let me remove 1, 2, and 3. And if I go back to my pivot, okay, that's perfect. So I'm basically pivoting based upon my population values, right? So that way I'm making sure that I have the state and the corresponding population values based upon the year. And what I can also do here is add another calculated field. So in this case, I can just say create calculated field, and I can just say, okay, let's do a custom split based upon the pivot name. So I just say split values, custom split, and I know that the column name is ending with the value name is ending with a bracket. If you can see, there is a population estimate as of July 1, close bracket 2016. So what I would do is I will just split values and do a custom split, and I'll split it based upon the last fields, and I'll just do a column. So if I do a split here, so it gives me the corresponding values, and I can rename this as year. And then what I can also do in this case is, okay, I have my joint column and I have my data set. I'll do another step here, and I'll do a create a calculated field, which I'll also name as year, and I'll just say date part. Again, these are regular Tableau functions that you're using, right? And in this case, I'll just select, okay, order date. So give me the year from the order date, and I'm applying that. So now what I'm trying to do here, if you're able to understand, is that we can combine this data, that is population data per year per state, and then sales data per state per year, and we can combine these two together, right? In this case, I'll do a join, and you see it basically shows you, okay, I don't identify the corresponding join, and you can basically then define, okay, what that join clause must be. So in this case, I would say combine my state with my state or province. So you can see it did not identify the join because the column names were different. I'll combine my year with year. So that's my first join. And you can make sure that you're joining them together, right? So I think we are running out of time. So I'll probably just show you how to do an output step here. We'll not combine this additional data set, but we'll work with the original data set. And basically what you can do is you can just say add output. And when you add an output, you see that you have the list of columns that are there. So you have the regional manager column that is added from the other data set that we had. Then we had the table name column. So you can keep removing those if you don't need them. So you can just right click and say remove. And you can change this to maybe a string, so that once you have this clean data, you can always save this as an output file. So the output type will basically be a hyper file, a TDE file, or a comma separated value file. Or you can also publish this as a data source to your underlying server. Right? So this is how you can work with Tableau Prep Builder. And to summarize, let me go back here. So we talked about how to clean and shape data using filtering or adding and removing columns, creating calculated fields. We talked about how to do joins and unions. We talked about how you can preview and share your outputs. We talked about how you can do connecting, you can do filtering of data using wildcard matches or calculations or even pronunciations, and then how you can output and use that data in the end, right? So let's generate this output. So let me save this. Let's just save this here, and I'll probably remove this one. So due to lack of time, I'll not be doing that combination, but this one, I think we are good to go. So basically what you would then do is just run this and it will generate, the output file. So we already have an output here. So I can just browse to, okay, which location I would want my output file to be. So let me save it on my desktop, my data files. I'll accept and I'll basically run this guy. So basically what it would do is it will run all of these individual steps together and generate the output file. So it just took 5 seconds, right? Then what we can do is go back to my Tableau desktop and open up your hyper file and then work with the corresponding data set, similar to how we would work with. So I'll just open this guy, go to my desktop, data files, I'll work with output.hyper. And that's your combined file together, and this is what you're working with. So just to summarize again, Tableau Prep's principal job is, or Prep Builder's principal job is to generate the workflows that you can publish and then automate it onto the server. And Tableau recently also introduced a good number of features in its latest release that might come out soon. I think it's still in beta. So you can connect to published data sources now. So earlier we were not able to do that, but now you can connect to Tableau server and use those in your Tableau Prep flow. You can use Google BigQuery as an input, similar to how Priyabrata showed earlier. We can use R and Python integration using RServe or TabPy servers, and you can create your own data roles, to do automatic data validation and share them onto the Tableau server. So I've shared some resources, and again, if you want to do practice, again, the Tableau Prep Builder comes free with a creator license, and there is a social community project called Prep in Data, wherein there's a weekly data set posted by Carl Ulchin and Jonathan Alibi on prepindata.blogspot.com. So you can take data sets from them and look at how different people are generating different Tableau Prep flows together. So that's all I had for today. Thank you, and you can always contact me if you have any specific questions. So thank you for the time, and thank you, Sagar.
Hey, thanks a lot, Snehith. I think it was a great presentation of Tableau Prep. So I think I will just give 2 minutes to Divya. She just wanted to show something connecting Tableau with R. So Divya, over to you.
Thanks, Sagar. So am I audible?
You are audible, yeah.
So let me just share my screen. So hi everyone, this is Divya. So since today's topic is all about the R integration with Tableau, so I thought let me share 2 of my cool dashboards. So generally we do integrate R with Tableau to build the predictive modeling, but there are also such dashboards where we can come up with this kind of cool outputs. So this dashboard is all about a spell checker. So in this text box I can just enter any text, and if this word is a misspelled word, that will appear over here on the second one. And the third box shows the solutions. So basically these are the solutions for this misspelled word. So all I can see here is instead of home, I just misspelled this word as HME, and that's the reason it is appearing on the second box. And from the third box I can able to see the right one here. And this is a very simple method I just used. So basically there is a package in R which is known as hunt spell. So basically this is being widely used on most of our browsers also, such as Firefox and Chrome, and it uses series of techniques like tokenizing and stemming and so on. So I'm just invoking or calling this package to find out the misspelled, and also using the same package to find the the most suitable word by using this function huntspell underscore suggest. So this is my very first dashboard, and let's quickly move on to the next one. Again, this is a very cool one. So basically here I can start entering my name. So based on this name, this dashboard will throw the gender for this person. So let's just change this name to something Andy, and let's see the output from this one. So we can see the gender and also a simple icon I just provided for this. And again, this is a very simple form I've written by invoking certain library which is known as gender, and the function from this library is gender. So through this way I was able to get the gender of this person and the icon. That's it from my end. Over to you, Sagar.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Divya. So I think we will just take 1 more minute to answer a few of the questions. So Tapan, you have a question about is Tableau Prep still in beta or do we have a production version? So Tapan, we have two versions already out. We have 2019.1 and 2. Tableau Prep both are out. You can go ahead, install it and use it with respect to your data. So Snehith was talking about the new version 2019.3, which will be coming soon. So I think just to talk about integrating Tableau with R, I have also posted one of the videos. I think you guys should go ahead and look to it. I have just pasted the link. So it is from one of our product managers. He had a TC talk in our last Tableau conference talking to you about how to connect Tableau with R and Python and some of the examples he had talked about. So I will talk to everyone. Just go ahead, watch that video and let us know if you need any help. So, so I think Snehith, the question is for you. So,
Yep.
Tapan is asking you a question. How do you think Tableau Prep compete with Alteryx? So, I think before Snehith answers that question, I will say that. So, I think we are not competing with everyone. So, I think Alteryx is a great tool. With respect to Tableau, it's more about you can go ahead and explore your data and start creating your data and do your analysis in Tableau. But maybe Snehith can give you an answer on that.
Yeah, so just to expand on that, Sagar, so that's precisely right. So what Tableau Prep cannot do, and which Alteryx is good at doing. So you might have seen that whole periodic table of functionalities that Alteryx can do. So Alteryx again is an end-to-end, and I don't think Tableau Prep is competing with that. So what Tableau Prep cannot do, for example, is it cannot do complex data preparation. It cannot work with macros. For example, they cannot do APIs calls yet, and it cannot do any spatial analytics. But what it can do, of course, it can do direct data integration. So you cannot directly edit a dimension value in Alteryx, but based upon my knowledge, but you can do that directly in Tableau Prep. And the good thing about it is because it's in the whole Tableau ecosystem, I see there is another question: how can you publish Tableau Prep to Tableau server? So the idea is that you publish your prep to the Tableau server, and then there is a data advanced add-in that you need to have or that you need to purchase that you can install and on Tableau server, wherein you can use Tableau Prep Conductor, which comes as a part of that add-in, and you can schedule those workflows, right? So that's how you can add these prep flows to the server so that all of these preparation steps can be automated. So that's where the strong integration of Tableau Prep is with Tableau server. But yeah, definitely, I think there is still long time to go for Tableau Prep, but that's usually with Tableau. So they do first two releases wherein they look at functionality, they look at feedback, and then usually it gets better as and when the tools progresses. So I'm sure you can expect it to grow in the coming few months.
Perfect. I think we can just take the last question. So Charudat has a question, Snehith. How can we automate pivot in Tableau Prep?
Automate pivot in Tableau Prep?
Yeah.
Yeah. So pivot, as you saw earlier, it was one of the steps that you had wherein you can pivot the data based upon the input. So you can use that. You can use a pivot step wherein you can automatically add that, and then use whatever fields that you want to pivot the data on, and then use those dimensions in the pivot step, and then schedule the flow, and that's how it can be automated.
Perfect. So thanks a lot, everyone. Thanks a lot for joining today. So I think it was a great session. I think thanks to Priyabrata, Snehith, and Divya also. So I think perfect. And just one thing, we are a data company. I have just pasted one link. Let us know your feedback. We want to hear which sessions you want to come over here and talk about it. So it's a great community, I think. And just one more thing, I think everyone is asking about the videos. So we have created a VizConnect YouTube channel. So I think I will go ahead and share that link with everyone. Just go ahead, connect with us. I think this is all for you guys. We are creating a community to share the best practices and all. Perfect. So I think just Divya has also just mentioned the LinkedIn group. Connect with everyone, ask your questions, and that's the whole motive of this, right? We want you all guys to share your learnings and best practices with one another. Just one request, let us know your feedback. Happy to talk to you on LinkedIn whenever you are stuck. And thanks for connecting with Connect. Thank you. Have a great weekend. Bye bye.
Thank you, Sagar.
Thanks, Snehith. Bye. Take care.
Bye.